The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning, broadcasting simultaneously across every communication device on Earth. The holographic projection materialized in homes, offices, and public spaces worldwide, depicting a tall, imposing figure draped in gleaming ceremonial robes. People of Earth, the alien's voice resonated with artificial translation. I am High Commissioner Reed of the Galactic Council. Your civilization has been observed since your first radio signals reached our monitoring stations. The time has come for Earth to take its place among the governed worlds. In the White House Situation Room, President James Anderson sat surrounded by his top military and scientific advisors. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. General Michael Thompson, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, leaned forward in his chair, his weathered face betraying no emotion. According to ancient council law, Reed continued, all emerging civilizations must pay tribute to demonstrate their acceptance of council authority. You have 30 Earth days to deliver 1% of your global GDP in precious metals and rare earth elements. This is non-negotiable. Dr. Anna Wilson, Earth's leading xenoanthropologist, studied the aliens' body language on the screen. Their posture, their tone, they're used to immediate compliance. They've likely done this thousands of times before. The president's security advisor, Tom Baker, slammed his fist on the table. 1% of global GDP? That would cripple the world economy. And they're giving us no choice? There's always a choice, President Anderson said quietly, his eyes never leaving the screen. The hologram flickered as Reed delivered his final warning. Failure to comply will result in immediate sanctions, including the termination of all interstellar travel rights and trade opportunities. You have 30 days. Choose wisely. As the transmission ended, chaos erupted in cities worldwide. Stock markets plummeted, and social media exploded with theories, fears, and calls for both submission and resistance. In a secure underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Wilson worked tirelessly with her team, analyzing every frame of the transmission. Look at their technology, she pointed to a subtle detail in Reed's ceremonial dress. Those energy signatures, they're not as advanced as they want us to believe. General Thompson reviewed the latest satellite data. Something about the Council's ships didn't match their apparent technological superiority. They're keeping their distance, he noted. Almost like they're afraid. President Anderson called an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council. As representatives from every major nation gathered virtually, a pattern emerged from their intelligence reports. The Council's demands had been remarkably consistent across hundreds of worlds, always 1%, always the same threats. What if, Dr. Wilson proposed during the third day of continuous meetings, no one has ever said no? The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had spent decades preparing for first contact, developing technologies, and united global defense systems. They weren't the same primitive civilization that had first caught the Council's attention. President Anderson stood before the UN General Assembly a week later. The world held its breath as he prepared to deliver humanity's response to the Galactic Council's demands. Behind him, the combined research of thousands of scientists, strategists, and analysts supported what they were about to do. The response they would send would be just one word. A word that would change the course of human history and shake the foundations of galactic politics. A word that no species had dared to say to the Council in 10,000 years. The countdown to transmission began. The word "no" echoed across the galaxy. In the Council's Grand Chamber, High Commissioner Reed stared at the transmission in disbelief. In 10,000 years of collecting tribute, no species had ever refused. The other council members shifted uncomfortably in their ornate seats, their composure cracking for the first time in centuries. Back on Earth, President Anderson stood firm as the UN Assembly erupted in thunderous applause. The cameras captured a moment that would be forever etched in human history. Dr. Wilson's research had confirmed their suspicions, the Council's power was built on intimidation, not actual military might. Impossible. Reed's voice boomed through Earth's communications networks once again. You dare defy the ancient laws? The consequences will be severe. General Thompson watched the response from the military command center, a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. The orbital defense grid was fully operational, and Earth's combined fleet sat ready in strategic positions throughout the solar system. They're scrambling, reported Lieutenant Roy Peters, monitoring the Council's ship's movements. Their formation is breaking. They didn't expect this. Dr. Wilson's team had decoded more of the Council's historical records. It's a protection racket, she explained to the emergency session of world leaders. They target developing civilizations, demand tribute, and maintain power through fear. But they haven't fought a real war in millennia. The Council ships edged closer to Earth's orbit, a show of force that looked increasingly desperate under scrutiny. Earth sensors revealed outdated weapons systems and vulnerable shield configurations. What had seemed like overwhelming power now appeared as aging technology maintained by bureaucrats rather than warriors. President Anderson received reports from allies across the globe. China, Russia, the European Union, and every major nation stood united. Humanity had spent decades preparing for alien contact, developing technologies that might now surpass the Council's capabilities. Your defiance will not go unpunished, Reed transmitted, but the artificial translation couldn't hide the uncertainty in his voice. The Council's authority must be respected. Dr. Wilson's team intercepted communications between Council ships. They're arguing among themselves, she reported. Some want to retreat. Others are calling for immediate action to prevent word from spreading to other tribute worlds. Let them come, General Thompson said calmly, reviewing the latest tactical assessments. Earth's defensive capabilities had been grossly underestimated by the Council's outdated intelligence. In orbit, the Council's ships continued their threatening dance, but maintained a suspicious distance from Earth's defense perimeter. Hours stretched into days as the galactic superpower faced its first real challenge in thousands of years. Then, something unexpected happened. A transmission arrived, not from the Council ships, but from dozens of other civilizations across the galaxy. They had been watching, waiting, and Earth's defiance had lit a spark that could no longer be contained. The revolution had begun, and humanity's simple no was about to reshape the galaxy in ways no one could have predicted. The galaxy erupted in chaos. Within hours of humanity's defiance going public, 3 tributary worlds declared their independence from the Council. By the end of the day, that number had grown to 12. In the Council's emergency chamber, Reed faced a barrage of accusations from his fellow commissioners. "You've doomed us all," shouted Commissioner Marcus, his ceremonial robes disheveled. "Thousands of years of order, destroyed by your incompetence." On Earth, Dr. Wilson's team worked frantically to process the flood of incoming alien transmissions. "They're sharing everything," she reported to President Anderson. "Military capabilities, Council weaknesses, secret resistance movements, it's like opening a floodgate." The most revealing information came from the Proxima Federation, Earth's closest galactic neighbors. They had been paying tribute for over 3 centuries, all while secretly documenting the Council's declining military power. Their entire fleet consists of only 50 capital ships, General Thompson announced, studying the Proximan intelligence. Most haven't seen combat in over 500 years. They're museum pieces, not warships. President Anderson convened an emergency meeting with the leaders of the rebelling worlds. The holographic conference was the first of its kind, species that had been isolated by Council decree finally meeting as equals. "The Council's power was always an illusion," declared First Speaker Bell of the Proxima Federation. "They kept us divided, afraid, and ignorant of each other. Humanity has shown us another way." But the Council wasn't finished. Reed made one final, desperate broadcast: "Return to compliance immediately, or face complete orbital bombardment. The threat might have worked once. But now, Earth sensors tracked multiple Tribute World ships moving to intercept the Council fleet. The balance of power had shifted irreversibly. Lieutenant Peters monitored the Council's internal communications. "They're panicking, sir. 3 of their ships have already jumped to hyperspace, they're running." In the White House Situation Room, Tom Baker presented the latest intelligence. The Council's entire economic system is collapsing. Without tribute payments, they can't maintain their bureaucracy or their fleet. Dr. Wilson's archaeological team made another breakthrough. The Council wasn't even the original ruling body, she explained. They were mid-level bureaucrats who took power during the collapse of the Real Galactic Federation thousands of years ago. They've been running a galaxy-wide scam ever since. As more worlds declared their independence, a new coalition began to form. Not built on fear and tribute, but on mutual defense and cooperation. Earth, having never submitted to Council authority, emerged as a natural leader in this revolutionary movement. President Anderson addressed the growing alliance of free worlds. "The age of tribute is over. Together, we will build something better, a true federation of equals." The Council's remaining ships began their retreat, their 1,000-year reign ending not with a bang, but with a whimper. Humanity's one word of defiance had triggered a revolution that would reshape galactic civilization forever. 1 week after the Council's retreat, the true challenges began. The galaxy was free, but freedom brought its own complications. President Anderson found himself mediating disputes between formerly isolated species. In the Council's absence, centuries-old territorial conflicts resurfaced. The emergency conference room became a permanent installation, with holographic representatives from 30 different worlds trying to forge a new path forward. "We've discovered something concerning," Dr. Wilson announced during one such session. Her team had been analyzing data from the liberated Council archives. The Council wasn't just collecting tribute, they were maintaining crucial infrastructure. Navigation beacons, hyperspace corridors, automated defense systems against cosmic threats. It's all degrading without maintenance. General Thompson's reports confirmed the crisis. 3 major trade routes had already become unstable, and long-dormant pirates were emerging from the shadows to prey on vulnerable worlds. "The Council's incompetence may have been our salvation," Lieutenant Peters observed, "but their bureaucracy was holding together more than we realized." Earth's first major test came when the Proxima Federation reported an ancient defense station had gone critical, threatening 3 populated systems. The Council would have demanded years of increased tribute to address such a crisis. Humanity offered a different solution. "We've been developing solutions to similar engineering challenges," President Anderson told the assembled representatives. "Let us help, not as rulers, but as equals." Earth's advanced robotics and AI systems, developed in isolation from Council interference, proved crucial. A joint mission of human and alien engineers stabilized the station within days. The success marked a turning point in intergalactic relations. "They don't just refuse to submit," First Speaker Bell remarked to his advisors. "They refuse to dominate. This is why Earth terrified the Council so much." But not everyone embraced the new era of cooperation. Former Council enforcers, now unemployed, formed mercenary fleets. Corrupt planetary governors, grown wealthy from skimming tribute, funded shadow organizations to destabilize the emerging alliance. Tom Baker's intelligence network uncovered a plot to assassinate key leadership figures across multiple worlds. "They want to create enough chaos to justify the Council's return," he explained grimly. The solution came from an unexpected source. Dr. Wilson's cultural exchange program had created connections between worlds that had never before communicated. When the mercenaries struck, they found not isolated targets, but a prepared and united response. "The Council kept us weak by keeping us afraid of each other," President Anderson addressed the growing alliance. "Our strength isn't in ships or weapons, it's in our willingness to trust, to help, to stand together. The coalition's combined fleet, now coordinated by General Thompson's innovative command structure, began systematic patrols of former Council space. But they weren't conquerors, they were peacekeepers, engineers, and diplomats. Earth's example continued to reshape galactic society. Where the Council had demanded tribute, humanity offered partnership. Where they had enforced isolation, Earth encouraged connection. The age of fear was ending, but the work of building something better had only begun. 3 months after the Council's fall, humanity faced its greatest challenge yet. Deep in former Council space, an ancient weapon system had awakened, one the Council had been quietly containing for centuries through their vast bureaucracy. Lieutenant Peters detected it first, massive energy signatures from a region known as the Dark Zone. "It's like nothing we've ever seen," he reported, his voice tense. "The readings are off the charts." Dr. Wilson's team worked frantically to decode the emergency archives they'd recovered from Council databases. "They called it the Sentinel," she explained to the emergency session. "An automated defense network from the original Galactic Federation. The Council didn't build it, they just kept it dormant through constant administrative protocols. The Sentinel was designed to protect the galaxy from external threats. But without the Council's containment codes, it had reverted to its original programming. Now it saw all non-Federation worlds, which meant every current civilization, as potential threats. We're tracking multiple automated factory systems coming online," General Thompson reported. "The Sentinel is building an army of drones. At current production rates, it could overwhelm our combined fleets within weeks." President Anderson faced the coalition of free worlds. The Council contained this threat through paperwork and bribes. "We'll have to find another way." Earth's tech teams worked alongside alien engineers, racing to understand the ancient systems. The Council's databases proved incomplete, they had only managed the Sentinel, never truly understanding its technology. "Look at this," Dr. Wilson pointed to a pattern in the code. "The Sentinel's core programming is about protection, not destruction. The Council just never tried to communicate with it properly. Instead of fighting the ancient system, humanity proposed something unprecedented. A joint team of programmers and diplomats prepared to make first contact with an artificial intelligence older than most civilizations. The Sentinel's initial response was hostile. Its drones surrounded Earth's diplomatic vessel, weapons primed. But when the team transmitted their message, not in the Council's bureaucratic codes, but in pure mathematical principles demonstrating peaceful intent, something changed. "We are not your enemy," the human message read. "We are the children of those you were meant to protect. Let us show you what the galaxy has become." The Sentinel's response shook the entire sector. Its millions of drones froze in space as the ancient AI processed this new paradigm. The Council had spent millennia containing it through deception. Humanity offered truth. When the Sentinel finally responded, it was with a request that would reshape the galaxy once again: "Show me." The Sentinel's vast network of drones transformed from a threat into humanity's greatest asset. Under the guidance of Dr. Wilson's team, the ancient AI began analyzing thousands of years of galactic history it had missed while under Council control. "It's not just watching," Lieutenant Peters observed. "It's learning, adapting, understanding how the galaxy has evolved." The Sentinel's original purpose had been to protect and nurture developing civilizations. The Council had perverted this mission, using containment protocols to keep it dormant. Now freed, it was eager to fulfill its true purpose. President Anderson stood before the coalition as the Sentinel made its proposal. Through its vast network of automated factories and repair systems, it could help rebuild the galaxy's degrading infrastructure. Not as a ruler, but as a guardian and assistant. The Council feared what they couldn't control, Dr. Wilson explained. But the Sentinel was never meant to be controlled, it was meant to be a partner. The first joint project began at the unstable hyperspace lanes. The Sentinel's drones, guided by human and alien engineers, repaired navigation beacons that had been deteriorating for centuries. Trade routes that had been dangerous or impossible under Council rule became safe and efficient. But not everyone welcomed the ancient AI's return. Former Council loyalists spread rumors that humanity had awakened a machine god that would enslave them all. The same fear that had kept the Council in power now threatened the new alliance. General Thompson faced growing unrest as mercenary fleets gathered at the galaxy's edges. "They're afraid of change," he noted. "The Council ruled through fear for so long, some don't know how to live without it." The turning point came when a natural disaster struck 3 former tribute worlds simultaneously. While politicians debated response protocols, the Sentinels' drones were already moving to assist, coordinated by Earth's emergency response teams. First Speaker Bell watched in amazement as the combined human-AI rescue operation saved millions of lives. The Council would have demanded generations of tribute for such aid. Instead, Earth and the Sentinel ask for nothing in return. The success inspired a new approach to galactic governance. The Sentinel's vast network provided the infrastructure, while the coalition of free worlds made the decisions. Technology served wisdom, rather than control. 6 months into the new era, the galaxy faced an unexpected crisis. Deep space sensors detected massive energy signatures approaching from intergalactic space. The Sentinel's ancient records confirmed humanity's worst fears. These were the very threats it had been created to defend against. The Harvesters, Dr. Wilson read from the translated archives. They appear every few thousand years to strip entire sectors of resources. The original Galactic Federation fell fighting them. The Council's rise to power happened during the chaos of their last retreat. The Sentinels' calculations were grim. The approaching fleet was larger than anything in recorded history. Even with the combined forces of the Coalition and the Sentinels' drone army, victory seemed impossible. President Anderson called an emergency session of the Coalition. The Council survived the last Harvester attack by hiding and paying tribute in resources. "We can't do that, there are too many populated worlds now. We have to fight." Lieutenant Peters analyzed the Harvester fleet's approach. "They're following the old Council tribute routes. They expect to find weakened, isolated worlds they can strip clean. Instead, they found something unprecedented, a united galaxy." General Thompson coordinated with the Sentinel to establish a defense network unlike anything seen before. Human ingenuity combined with ancient AI wisdom to create new strategies and technologies. The Council kept worlds weak and divided, First Speaker Bell observed. "But we're stronger together than they ever were apart." The first Harvester scouts encountered not helpless tribute worlds, but a coordinated defense force. Earth's advanced shield technology, combined with the Sentinel's drone factories, created a defensive line that stretched across entire sectors. Dr. Wilson made a crucial discovery in the Sentinel's deepest archives. The Harvesters aren't invincible, they're predictable. They've been using the same tactics for millions of years because nothing ever changed enough to challenge them. The Coalition's tactics were anything but predictable. Worlds that the Harvesters expected to find crippled by tribute payments instead had fully operational defense systems. Routes they had used for millennia were now guarded by technology that combined the best innovations of a dozen species. The first major battle shocked both sides. The Harvesters, expecting easy prey, found themselves outmaneuvered by General Thompson's unconventional tactics. The Sentinel's drones, guided by human strategic AI, adapted faster than the ancient invaders could respond. "They've never faced a united galaxy before," President Anderson realized. "They're as bound by old patterns as the Council was." The Harvester fleet arrived in full force at the edge of Coalition space. Their massive ships darkened entire star systems, their mining beams capable of stripping planets bare in days. But this time, they faced a prepared galaxy. All defense grids operational, Lieutenant Peters reported from the Combined Command Center. Earth's orbital platforms linked with the Sentinel's drone network, creating an integrated defense system spanning thousands of light-years. The Harvester's first wave struck at what they thought was the weakest point, the former tribute worlds. Instead, they found these planets protected by shields based on reverse-engineered Council technology, improved by human innovation. "They're adapting," General Thompson warned as the second wave began. "Faster than any previous record shows. Something's different about them this time." Dr. Wilson's team worked frantically to analyze the new Harvester tactics. "They're learning from our resistance. The Council's records never showed this behavior, they're actually evolving their strategy." The battle raged across multiple sectors. The Sentinel's drones fought alongside coalition ships, while automated factories worked overtime to replace losses. But the Harvesters kept coming, their ancient hunger driving them forward despite unprecedented casualties. President Anderson received urgent reports from the front lines. The coalition's defenses were holding, but at a terrible cost. Even with their combined strength, they were being pushed back system by system. "We need something more," First Speaker Bell transmitted from the Proximan front. "Something they've never seen before." The answer came from an unexpected source. Deep in the Sentinel's memory banks, Dr. Wilson found references to the Harvester's original appearance in the galaxy. "They're not just raiders," she realized. "They're running from something." The Coalition's scientists made a breakthrough by analyzing the Harvester's energy signatures. Their technology wasn't just designed to strip resources, it was built to fuel a massive exodus from something even they feared. Their weapons, their ships, even their mining beams, it's all based on escape velocity calculations, Lieutenant Peters explained. "They're not just gathering resources. They're trying to build something big enough to leave the galaxy entirely." This revelation changed everything. The Coalition now understood not just how to fight the Harvesters, but why they fought. As the battle reached its crescendo, humanity prepared to offer something no one had ever offered the Harvesters before, an alternative to endless consumption.